One book.
Two minds.
No guarantees that we'll agree.
I'm MJ.
I'm Alan, and this is Shelf Talkers. Hi, MJ. How are you?
Hi, Alan. I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Good.
So we've entered spooky season,
hmm
and we have a semi-spooky detective
hmm hmm
story.
John Connolly's
Okay.
Every Dead Thing.
Yep, for Occult Detective October.
Yeah. I can't wait to see your reaction. I can't wait.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So let's.
Let's get to it.
What's the phrase? Run VT.
Yeah.
This month on Shelf Talkers, we've been reading John Connolly's Every Dead Thing, the first in the Charlie Parker series, which now runs to something like 20 plus books. This was first published in 1999 and sees Charlie Parker trying to solve the murders of his wife and daughter, and along the way track down a missing woman and a variety of other associated and linked murders and crimes. It is a dark book. If you are at all sensitive to sort of grisly murder, serial killer type fiction, it is not the book for you. I did enjoy it, and I will probably continue with the series, but I have to say there were times when I thought that some of the grisly parts of the novel were a little bit too much. It starts out with effectively what happened to Charlie Parker's wife and daughter, which is particularly gruesome. And that then leads to Parker, who is or at the time was a police officer with the NYPD, leaving his job and becoming a unlicensed private investigator at that time. And he is out on a job when he sees another murder, and tries to chase down the murderer in the street, and consequently ends up back at the NYPD, kind of explaining his actions basically, and his former partner saying to him, I've got a potential job for you. Can you go and see this lady and see if you can help her? And she wants him to track down a missing woman who was the girlfriend of her son and who have both vanished. And so Parker sets off to do that, and soon realizes that the person who killed his wife and daughter, known as the Travelling Man, is still around. He has previously been to see a lady in New Orleans who is somewhat clairvoyant, I suppose is the best way to describe it. And all of these stories start to become intertwined. And although the first half of the book is essentially about Parker tracking down the missing woman, it quickly becomes clear that actually all of this is interrelated. Some of it indirectly, but some of it quite directly as well. As I say, there are a number of fairly gruesome crimes and killings. Some of them relate to women and children, and this may not be the book for you if that's the sort of thing that you find distasteful. I certainly, there were times when I didn't enjoy reading this book. There were times when I was thinking, this is just a bit much. I wonder whether that's a product of when the book was written. 99 is quite a long time ago now, and I think the contents and descriptions in the book were probably more acceptable in the late 90s than they are 26 years later. I would be surprised if a modern book were able to get away with quite as much graphic content as they did back then. And it would be interesting comparison to read, a recent release by John Connolly and see if it has the same level of evil, for want of a better term. I mean, there are truly evil characters in this book, and we chose it specifically because of Occult Detective October being in October, and I would have said, although there are some supernatural elements to it, particularly with the clairvoyant character, I think the overriding issue here is around good and evil, rather than anything spooky. I did enjoy it. As I say, I would read more in the series, and I have a few more at the beginning of this series on my Kindle, so I probably will read more. If they are all as dark as the first one, I may not read them all. We'll see. I think there's times when you don't really need that kind of darkness in your life, I guess. But I think, overall, good characters, well written, good story. I think the way he tied the two different strands together, because initially I thought this was going to be kind of like two stories effectively stacked back to back in one book, but it was much more both subtle and complicated than that. So yeah, overall, a good read. Would recommend, but with the caveats of, if that kind of sort of level of violence and so on is not your thing, then you're probably not going to enjoy the book at all. But yeah, I would definitely say, if you like dark crime novel, probably this would be a good read for you. So let's see what MJ thought of it.
Hey everyone, it's MJ. Welcome to this episode of Shelf Talkers. This month we agreed on John Connolly's first book in the Charlie Parker series, Every Dead Thing. We both had it on our shelves. It's been one of those characters that's been always in the back of my head. I knew about this series. I follow John Connolly online. He's not super present, but he's present. And he was talking about his new book and how there was a great deal on all his old books, and there was a bundle, and I got tied into the bundle. And I did not really know. I kind of knew what I was going to get, but I did not know what I was going to get. Wow. There's so much to cover. First and foremost, I'm just going to put a blanket statement out there. John Connolly's writing is so sensory. It's so descriptive. You are a sidekick along in this journey with him. how he develops Charlie. Okay, now let me get to the backstory. I have so much to talk about. Okay, so Charlie is a police officer who finds that his wife and daughter have been sadistically, ritualistically, horribly murdered while he was out drinking. This book is layered with grief, and not in the way that you would expect it. It's almost as if Charlie Parker is numb to what happened. He's distancing himself. He's compartmentalizing what has happened. He's not crying. He's not, So you get this sense that he's kind of stoic in all of this. We move forward and he is no longer a police officer, but he still does PI work. Okay. He's on this trail to find what happened to his family. And this is where the story is laid out like a roadmap. There are so many twists and turns. There are so many scenes where you're like, It's very dark. We have police procedural with organized crime. We have organized crime with some sadistic, ritualistic element that we're not too sure. We have to connect the dots with all of that. But each chapter took you in a new area. We started in New York, New Orleans. And the flavor of New Orleans is present. And I appreciate that. I love that. I'm not going to say that it reminded me of William Hortzberg's books. Well, I've only read the book, the first one. But it has the same type of pacing, maybe? I just loved it. It's so dark, though. Like, it's really dark. You have to know I didn't know going into it, but I'm okay with it. But some people may not. There's a lot of things that happen to children. There's a lot of things that happen to family members. There's a lot of things that happen to people that you wouldn't expect, And then we have this cliffhanger type ending where you, as a reader, your heart is racing, your pulse is up there, and you're rooting for Charlie. And we find out who the traveling man is. So the traveling man is the nickname given to this alleged serial killer. And I thought it was 3 or 4 different people throughout the whole story. There are a lot of characters that are introduced. And like I said, there is a lot of death that follows them. And the traveling man reveal, I thought that was excellent. I did not expect it. And I'm not going to spoil it for anybody that wants to read this book. But I thought that was really good. Charlie does have a new interest with a criminal psychiatrist or psychologist. And she gets, she's supportive of him. She knows what's going on. And she gets tied into this as well. And she becomes a possible future victim of the traveling man. I just thought it was great. I'm hesitant to continue with the series right now. Now is the time that I would turn to a Sweet Valley High book or some type of a palate cleanser. I can't do dark books back to back, that's for sure. But I just thought this was great. This is a crime thriller. This is dark. This is dark. I kept thinking of scenes from like TV shows like The Walking Dead, or, you know, is it Devil's Inferno, the William Hortzberg book? I think that's it, but I'm not sure. But different things that I've read, different things that I've experienced, and I just think it's fantastic. And his writing, literally, I was on the treadmill. So what I did was I read it and I did the full immersion. So I was reading it and then I had the audiobook going from Spotify. And there is one, I was on the treadmill and I'm reading this one scene. Here's the scene. It was just so good. So as, you know, a budding writer, I read this and I'm just in awe. You sure you want to be dropped here? The cab driver was a huge man, his hair lank with sweat, which dribbled down his cheeks and over the rolls of fat in his neck, eventually losing itself in the greasy collar of his shirt. He seemed to fill the whole front of the cab. The door looked too small for him to have entered through. He gave the impression that he had lived and eaten in the cab for so long that it was no longer possible for him to leave. The cab was his home, his castle, and his bulk gave the impression that it would be his tomb. I read that at the gym. I literally just went in and highlighted it, and I'm like, that is some kick-ass prose right there. So if you've never read Charlie Parker, if you've heard of Charlie Parker, you've heard of the author John Connolly, there are 22 books or so in this series. If you feel like going down a dark road or you want a little bit of that occult detective, dark story with a very complicated character that is trying to deal with what's happening in his emotions, I recommend it. I absolutely recommend it. Check out John Connolly's writing.
We both liked it.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, hi.
Yeah. I wasn't sure whether you were going to like it or not.
Why do you say that?
Well, just because of the how dark it was.
Yeah. Darkness, that stuff doesn't, it takes a lot to bother me with that stuff.
Yeah.
So I have a pretty thick skin with that. And it was, I mean, there's at times where I was reading it and I'm like, oh gosh, you know, like it was getting a reaction from me. Cause sometimes I'll read that kind of stuff and I'll just like, you know, it's not written in a way that grips you, but the way John Connolly does it, like it's, you know, it's visceral. It's, you can feel it in your bones. And you know, a couple times I had to step away from the book and I'm just like, okay, let's take a break and then we'll come back. But I just thought how he connected all of the dots with the different characters. And that one scene, with the car explosion, seriously stopped everything I was doing and I had to read it all over again. And I'm like, what? It was just so good. It was completely unexpected. And I was like, this book has so many twists and turns, but I honestly really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. I was, because I think I said, you know, I thought it was going to be like the story of the missing woman and then, you know, he was going to go on to the traveling man, and the way they were all interconnected, I thought was just, yeah, it was masterful really, because it didn't look like it was going to be anything more than kind of two kind of quite separate stories.
Yeah. See, I didn't get that. When I read it, I thought always in the back of my head, he's going to search and he's going to find. Always in the back of my head, because of how, like, I'm reading the book and, you know, he's going through the first couple scenes and I'm like, where's the emotion? Where's the rage? Where's the, and he's just carrying on. Like he's focused on the mission. And I'm thinking to myself, he's going to have a really different way of processing this emotion. And then to see all of the grief that is played out throughout the rest of the book, I just thought it was wonderful. It was really well written how they covered that.
Yeah, no, I think going in knowing that it was like such a long series,
Yeah.
I was wondering whether actually is the traveling man just going to be a thread that runs,
Mm,
and we're not going to find out in this book,
yeah.
and maybe not, for multiple books to come, who the traveling man actually was. But I'm glad that it was a kind of there. I think there are things that will carry forward into future books, but that isn't going to be one of them. That's been kind of resolved, and and
Yeah.
like you say, the reveal, it wasn't. I had it wrong. I had my money on somebody else.
Yeah, me too.
But, I'm normally pretty good. I normally kind of, yeah, I know who it is. I
Mhm.
can work it out. But no,
Yeah,
you know,
for a while, I thought it was is it Rachel? I thought it was his lady friend.
yeah, I did as well. That's who I thought. I thought it was going to. Oh,
Yeah.
it's going to. No.
I was bracing myself for that. But you know what? I didn't even think about that when I was reading the book. If the traveling man was going to be like a continuing character.
Mm,
I didn't even think that. So I guess finishing the book with it wrapped up like a bow like that just for this book, I was very thankful
yeah,
because
yeah,
it came to a closure. And then, okay, the door's open if you want to continue with what Charlie's doing next, which is nice.
yeah.
You're not
Well, I guess
forced, you're not forced to go into the next book, is what I mean.
yeah. It's also you don't know at the time. Get at the time he's writing it. Has he got a 1 book deal? Has he got a 3 book deal? That
Hmm.
kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
think it was Lee Child who said when he was at always the time when he was coming to the end of a contract deal, he'd write a cliffhanger
Uh-huh.
so they'd have to sign in, a new contract to find out what happened next.
Right, right.
So you kind of think,
That's a slick move.
yeah.
Mhm.
So if you read all of his books, there's certain points where there's major cliffhangers, and you think, oh, okay, it's contract time.
Nice.
It's so
I
yeah.
like that. I like it. Well, I'm glad this was a great pick for spooky season, a great pick for something that's not completely spooky because there really I thought there was going to be a lot more.
Mm,
So the little supernatural girl inside of me was a little disappointed when there wasn't enough, but
yeah,
it was just right. But I thought it was a great pick for this month.
yeah. I guess future books might expand on that theme a bit more.
I hope.
Yeah. Well, you've got the other 21 to read, so
Yeah, yeah. I don't know when I'll start the next one, but it won't be for a while.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I'm pleased it was more of a success than The God of the Woods, put it that way.
Yeah. I think, and I thought about this as I was reading it, and I said, what's the difference? It's the burn effect. So
Mm,
with Charlie Parker, we have all of these different things happening. There's motion, motion, motion. God of the Woods, it wasn't moving fast enough for me, and
yeah,
I just mentally checked out.
yeah,
Yeah, this completely just had me in a chokehold.
yeah. No, it was a good read. Good
Really
pick.
good.
Yeah.
Mhm. So what do we have? What do we have next?
Well, I think as I've said to you, we've done Occult Detective October,
Hmm.
and then November brings us to Dr. November, which is all about spies and espionage. And so I was going to suggest we read William Boyd's Gabriel's Moon,
Hmm. I'm down.
which is a Cold War detective story. So Gabriel is Gabriel Dax, who is a travel journalist with a bit of a history. And I think from sort of reading the, the copy cover, gets himself drawn into spies and spycraft. So it is the first book in I think what's going to be a trilogy, but it was only released last year, so it's only
Ooh,
recently out in paperback.
okay,
So that
nice.
was my suggestion for November or Dr. November.
Right. I'm down. That sounds like
Good.
fun. Hmm.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't guarantee to books 2 and 3, but I could guarantee to 1.
That's all right. I think the second one is out, but I'm not it's only out in hardback. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Good. Excellent. Oh.
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and everyone out there, feel free to join along with us and read in November, and then come back on the last day of November to watch our reaction video.
Yeah, yeah. So this is the way we do it. It's the last day of the month, and we record, well,
a couple days
at a convenient point in time just beforehand. Cool.
Nice.
Well,
I love it.
MJ.
I'm going to have to keep a tally of how many books you liked and how many books I liked.
Well, I think we're even at the moment, aren't we? Because I wouldn't say I like The Secret History, although I read it.
Right.
You didn't like The God of the Woods.
I had a DNF though.
Yeah.
So I guess we're kind of even.
Yeah, I think we're even.
Yeah, we'll see how this book goes. Maybe this will be a tiebreaker.
Okay.
Well, this was good. This was good. Okay, now we have to shake off all the darkness.
Yeah. I will carry on reading them. I know I will, but I like you say, I need a bit of something in between to.
Yeah. I can't go back to back with that type of book. No, it's not good. That happened in the past, and it wasn't a good end result.
No.
No, I needed some unicorns and rainbows and sunshine in my life.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this was so much fun.
Yeah. Enjoyed it. It was a good read.
It was. And then I won't speak to you again until we catch up in November.
No.
We keep it very minimal contact.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Here's the link for the meetup.
I think it works well that way.
I think it does too.
It's a different, it's a different approach to buddy reading.
Yeah.
It's not, checking in every, few chapters or whatever. It's definitely the surprise factor, I think, is
I think we could call it a blind buddy read.
Yeah.
Yeah. That works.
Cool. Okay.
# blind buddy read.
Try and remember to put that in when I do the edit.
There you go.
Okay.
Awesome.
Right. Well, thanks, MJ.
Hey, thank you. This was great.
Yep. And I'll see you again in, about a month's time.
Yep. See you guys in November.
Yeah. Take care.
All right. Bye everyone.
Bye.